Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm really excited to talk about how to transition to a low-carb diet. Now, this specific model is inspired by the trans-theoretical model of behavioral change. This approach can be used for basically anything. Anything you want to change in your life, this model helps you to get from point A to point Z and all the steps in between. And it takes into account our human nature and the way that we change. The way that we change is not just sudden. If you want long-lasting change, it has to be gradual and it has to be systematic. And this model will help you do that. So let's get started. So this is just a little overview of the steps or levels that are going to be involved in this model. Each person spends different times in each level, and it's really important to not judge ourselves based on how long we spend at each level. Knowing that there's a step-by-step process to your change can really help you have a structure or a framework so that you can monitor your progress effectively and make sure that you're still committed to your goals. Level 1 is the first level that everyone starts at. There is no shame in being at this stage for an indefinite period of time. You might have been in this stage for maybe your whole life, and that's totally fine because there's many factors contributing to you being in this stage. For example, on this slide, as you can see, the 4 R's, we have all these barriers within us that are stopping us from realizing that change is possible for us. Maybe we don't know that making that change is going to result in a positive outcome for us. Maybe we don't even realize that a change is possible for us. There is also a little voice inside of us sometimes that tells you, don't tell me what to do, and just wants to rebel. That can also be a barrier to change. It's important not to judge ourselves if we are experiencing any of these 4 R's in ourselves, but just recognize and be aware of where you're at. Sometimes we might even think that we're perfect the way we are and we don't need to change. And maybe that's true for you. That's totally fine. That can change in the future as well. Perhaps you've been going through some issues or problems due to your current lifestyle, but you don't actually know that there is something you can do to change that. Maybe you just sort of accepted that this is just how life is and not even realize that there is something you can do to make things better for yourself. Level 2 is all about being open to change. In this stage, we are questioning whether there is something we can change about ourselves or not. Perhaps we have thought about changing something about ourselves in the past. Maybe we've heard about the low-carb diet. Maybe we have friends or colleagues who are doing a low-carb diet and finding lots of benefits from it. Even if in the past you might have thought that it's not possible for you to adopt a low-carb diet, when you're in level 2, you're actually wondering maybe you can adopt a low-carb diet. We can also have some fears coming up during this stage, and we might be afraid of giving up some part of our life. And it can take time to realize that to get something, you might have to give something up. To move forward, you have to leave something behind. And in this stage, you're sort of going through that process in your mind. Maybe you're doing sort of like a risk-benefit analysis in your mind, where you're trying to figure out what you have to give up and what you have to gain. And it's really important to just take your time in this stage. Level 3 is all about commitment. It's about making that decision. It's about being sure of what you want. You've sort of done your umming and ahhing, and now you've decided, yes, I do want to make this change. It is worth it for me. I do want to adopt a low carb lifestyle, and I do want to gain the benefits associated with a low carb diet. In this stage, we are actively researching and asking questions. Maybe we're talking to people. Maybe we're reaching out to professionals. We might be watching videos. We might be trying to figure out if we've tried to do it in the past, what has worked for us and what didn't, and how that learning can help us moving forward. Making a plan is also important in this stage, not just for how you're going to follow the diet, but also about if you do fail, what is your contingency plan? Having a contingency plan really helps you to prepare for something that may or may not happen. But if it does, you know how to deal with it, and it's not a scary, sudden, unexpected thing. It can be really comforting to know that your past self is looking after your present self. In this stage, you can also be sharing your decision with your loved ones, and that can be really good for accountability. It can also help to inspire others to know that you are living your life consciously and making decisions to improve the quality of your life. And it might even inspire others to do the same. Level 4 is all about applying that knowledge and taking action. In this stage, prepare to fail. You will be making mistakes. You will be tweaking your behavior, modifying things. You might experience some stress trying to adapt to a new lifestyle. Yes, you've done all the planning, but actually applying that knowledge might force you to realize that you might not have considered some things. Maybe you didn't realize that you might need more space in your fridge or something like that. Or perhaps for you, it means that you might be spending more time doing meal prep, and so taking that time in your schedule to figure out how long it takes you to do that can be really important. This step does take conscious effort. It's really important to keep motivated during this stage. And so finding support can be really important. Knowing that you have support of others around you can keep you motivated. When you're feeling down, having someone to turn to can really help you figure out what it is that you need to tweak or change to continue following the same path. You might realize that the plan you made in the previous stage is not working out for you, and you have to change it slightly. Also, it's really good to self-reflect in this stage and monitor your progress, especially at the end of every day or at the end of every week. Taking some time to reflect on the changes you have made and the struggles you might have gone through, and perhaps noticing some barriers to change and writing those down can be really helpful in this stage. Don't be discouraged and allow yourself to adapt to a new routine and a new way of life. Now we're on to level 5, the maintenance stage. You've developed a new habit, a new routine, and a new lifestyle. You've managed to overcome your barriers. You're continuing to do research. You're continuing to learn. You're continuing to share your progress and self-reflect. This stage can be really rewarding. And after going through all the previous stages, the maintenance stage is what really allows us to pat ourselves on the back and realize that we are worth it, and it is worth it to make this change. It can give you a real boost in self-confidence and self-esteem. You also gain some self-mastery and self-discipline and learn a lot about yourself. You learn what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. And this knowledge can help you for the rest of your life. Having that self-knowledge is really important to feel grounded and embodied in your practice and in your life. Now, we've talked about all the different levels of how to get from point A to point Z. This specific stage of relapse, or as I like to call recycle, can happen at any time during those stages. I call it recycle because if you do fall off the wagon, start over, recycle, get back on the horse, and start again. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world for you. Yes, it can feel like your progress is being delayed temporarily, But during a relapse, you can gain so much knowledge about yourself and so much insight into what makes you tick. It can be really tempting to go into an all or nothing mindset when you relapse. It's really important to not see things as so black and white. Even if you fail once, it doesn't mean you have to go back to your old habits again. Being persistent with this change can really help you gain self-discipline and self-mastery. When you do relapse, it's important to have self-compassion, and it's important to have self-acceptance and self-forgiveness. Please don't judge yourself for making mistakes. It is only human. And when you're trying new things, it's normal for old habits to come up. And overcoming these challenges builds character and builds strength. So even if you relapse, don't rush the results. The results will come. It's about the journey, not the destination. And during the journey, you will learn so much and gain so many skills and knowledge that once you do get to the destination, you are empowered. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that this talk gave you a bit of inspiration, a bit of motivation, a little bit of insight into what it means to change something about yourself. Maybe you're only at level 1 right now, and that's totally fine. Perhaps you're at level 2 and you are thinking about changing something. Having someone there to support and guide you can really accelerate your progress and also help you to stay committed to your goals. I will leave my links down below. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to book a one-on-one consultation, and I'd be more than happy to help. Good luck in your journey, and until next time, stay well.